It's time now for a look at the day's business news with Brian Quinn, who joins me here in the studio. And Brian, we're starting in the US, where the Federal Reserve has just issued some fairly impressive predictions for the future of the American economy.
Indeed, Thomas. America's central bank says the country is likely headed into its strongest economic growth in nearly 4 decades as it emerges from the coronavirus crisis. The Fed is predicting economic growth of 6.5% in 2021. That's up from the 4.2% it was predicting as recently as December. Growth expected to stay above average, with 3.3% expected in 2022 and 2.2% in 2023. That kind of rapid expansion would typically raise fears of excessive inflation, which would lead the Fed to try and cool down the economy via interest rate hikes. But while inflation is expected to exceed the Fed's 2% target rate this year, the bank is planning to keep interest rates near zero through 2023 and maintain its $120 billion per month bond buying scheme. Chairman Jay Powell says he's taking no chances to ensure a full recovery there, Thomas.
And Brian, what kind of reaction have we seen so far on the markets?
Well, Asian indexes are gaining ground across the board as investors react to those Fed policy decisions, particularly on keeping interest rates low. Expanding U.S. demand is also expected to help boost lagging economies, particularly Japan's. Nikkei in Tokyo up just over 1%. Chinese markets charging ahead as well. Hong Kong's Hang Seng is up around 1.75%. The Kospian Seoul is up 0.2%, just ahead of the closing bell there.
Next, here in Europe, officials are hoping new investments in the pharmaceutical industry could help the continent achieve its vaccination goals.
Indeed, Thomas, there's been plenty of controversy recently over European vaccine production and exports, with Brussels considering tighter export controls to the UK in particular. Well, German pharmaceutical group Merck, meanwhile, has now announced a €25 million investment in its pharmaceutical production facility in eastern France. The plan is expected to create 350 new jobs in the town of Molsheim near Strasbourg. Merck is scrambling to meet global demand for products necessary to the production of vaccines, specifically special containers for refrigeration tanks. France's deputy industry minister called the investment crucial to meeting the continent's vaccination needs. Here she is.
This investment contributes to France's reindustrialization in the sector of health industries. It's a strategic project for France, for Europe. It plays a part in the strengthening of our autonomy in terms of bioproduction and specifically in terms of vaccine production.
And finally, for this business summary, while we're waiting for our vaccines, testing remains critical when it comes to COVID-19. That's hopefully about to get easier, Brian.
Yeah, it's true. France's Medicines Agency is expected to give final authorization for the use of self-administered home COVID testing kits within the coming days. Manufacturers are already reporting soaring demand. One company, also based in Alsace, says it's ready to rise to the challenge. Luke Schrager reports.
Meet the latest weapon to go into the arsenal in the fight against COVID. Self-testing kits are now one step closer to going on sale in France, following on from Germany, Austria, the UK and the Netherlands. Biocinex specializes in testing kits and has seen demand go through the roof.
Nous allons arriver devant la machine mise en route début janvier.
The firm's invested €3 million in bringing production to eastern France. But with the new kits now given the green light, the pressure is on.
La machine va tourner encore plus qu'avant. Et donc pour ça, j'ai besoin de main-d'œuvre supplémentaire. Donc des emplois vont être créés pour tourner sur une équipe, 2 équipes, 3 équipes.
Biocinex took on an extra 50 people in just a week, with 200 extra part-timers planned who'll be boxing the tests up. The main difference here is in the nasal swab. It's far less intrusive than those taken by health professionals.
On n'a rien changé dans la structure du test. On a fait d'autres études, effectivement, pour être sûr de valider les performances de sensibilité et de spécificité avec un prélèvement nasal.
The company is already placed to pump out 1.5 million of its new units from next week, though logistics are still being brought into place as it waits for the final go-ahead from France's Medicines Agency.
On attend en effet l'approbation, la validation de nos tests. Et on attend de savoir où ça va être vendu, en pharmacie, en grande surface.
The tests will cost less than €10 each, with competition with other firms already in the wings. They're seeking to bring their own versions to market.
I have to say, Thomas, I was rather looking forward to shoving a 10-centimeter Q-tip into my brain pan at home, but it looks like they're a little bit easier than that, unfortunately.
Much easier.
You can go to the pharmacy if you really want that, I suppose.
Brian Quinn with the latest business news. Thank you very much.